I'll just start with a couple things, and we can get into any questions you guys have. But needless to say, I'm very, very excited for the season. We've talked a lot with our team about we had a great week at the end of last season. I don't know that I'd label our season as a great season, but we did have a fantastic end to it. That is kind of a rallying cry for us moving forward to this season. That we want to have consistency with our preparation, and hopefully that'll lead to consistency with positive results as well. And I think it can, because I do think we have a lot of good pieces in place. But that is, again, something that we've talked a lot about. We can't just try and rely on a good tournament in Birmingham or try and rely on a couple good games to get us out of a hole. We want to try and, if it was a game, try and get the lead early and run with it. And so I think the guys are bought into it. The work ethic has been good, certainly starting ahead of where we were last year, both in terms of offensive schemes, defensive schemes, but also physically. The guys are bigger, faster, stronger, and have a better understanding of what the college game is as well. So, again, there's a lot of optimism, a lot of excitement around the program, and it's amazing that the games will start very, very shortly.
Coach, how do you keep them humble and hungry at the same time, being that you're defending?
Well, I hope we have some humility. I mean, when you really look at it, we were about 4 points down with 50 seconds left to be one of the few teams in UAB's history to have a losing record. And I've talked to the team a lot about that. Again, we had a great week moving on from there, but going to that point, we were a young team that stumbled a lot along the way. So it's the humility part is something we do talk about a lot, but last year wasn't that long ago when we were 4-9 going into the conference season. And so I hope our guys I do think we have smart guys, high character guys, and I think they have a pretty good feel for that. And in terms of the hungry part, there's so many amazing things that are out there for us to achieve, but we haven't really done a whole lot yet. The guys last year had a nice run late in the year, but this year we're looking at as a new chapter, and the hungry part I sure hope is there.
When you say not a great season, how do you measure what's a great season? Is it different parts of the year? Is it solely the NCAA tournament?
Well, for me, I like to look at the season as a whole, and obviously the NCAA tournament is such a defining thing for all of college basketball. But in my personal experiences, you have to judge the season as a whole as well. And certainly the NCAA tournament, the conference championship are two huge highlights and certainly defining moments, and that you would say it was a successful season. But for me, the entire season has to be looked at, and we stumbled a lot along the way. And the regular season, we didn't finish first in the conference, and that's going to be a goal for us this year. And so when we look back at this year, I hope we can say that not only did we end strong, hopefully we can say that, but also we're consistent throughout the entire season.
People always talk about like the target. They mentioned the target being on somebody's back. Do you already feel that, or is that something that's going to come maybe as we get closer to the conference season since you're the preseason thing?
I mean, I do think there's high expectations, and I guess a way to say that is there is a target on our back, and that's a positive thing in my mind. It means we've done something. We assembled a team that has some potential and can do some big things. We have a very, very tough non-conference schedule, so we're going to have to be ready. But I do think when teams play us, there's going to be a level of respect there, and we're going to have to play at our best to be able to compete with some of these teams. I do think that my experiences back at North Carolina and at Kansas can help. I do think we have a team that is open to the things we talk about. They want to be coachable, and that's one thing we have to coach this year is the idea of how to prepare properly, be ready for all games, the whole idea of respect everyone, fear no one, and we need to be able to get there. But I'm hoping that my experiences in the past as an assistant coach and a player, being at programs and teams that were preseason number one or picked to do very, very well, that those experiences can be relayed to the team.
Are you a believer that the way a season ends, good in your guys' case, with the tournaments and everything, can propel the start of the next year, or is this a whole new year, new slate, and everything?
We're looking at it as a new year and a new slate. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we can take the positives of building confidence and believing in ourselves and knowing that we do have talent to play at a high level, and hopefully we stay away from the ideas of being fat and happy. And if we can take those positives and apply them, then it's going to be a very positive thing. So I think it's a little bit of both, but the biggest thing is we are looking at this as a brand new season, a brand new team. We're 0-0 and start from scratch, and this year's team has not accomplished anything yet. And we do believe we can accomplish things, but we haven't done it yet, and there's going to have to be a ton of work before that happens.
With all the talent you have coming back, I know it's hard to analyze the rest of the teams in your conference because they're all new teams as well. But with what you have coming back, how comfortable do you feel it being a favorite in the conference?
I think it's, I mean, those are the kind of things I think are good for the fans. They're good for the media. I think it's good for our conference to get people talking about basketball. I don't know that there's a whole lot of value in it. And again, I do think we have a team that has a chance to be very competitive in Conference USA. But when you look at Old Dominion, when you look at UTEP, Middle Tennessee, those four I think are the top four picked in the conference. But we have a conference that does have some depth, that does have quality teams. And I think it's a sign that, again, we've done a good job recruiting, putting a program in place that can have some success, but it's not something that we're hanging our hat on by any means.
When you look back at last year and those early pre-conference losses, how were you able to turn that over to where guys played pretty well in the conference, and what kind of lessons can you take from that bad start into this year?
Yeah, I think with last year, the one thing that just hit me like a ton of bricks was we're 4-9 ending the non-conference season, and the guys have every reason to point fingers, blame coaches, blame each other, and splinter, and they didn't. And I think that's a credit to, in some ways, the coaches, but it's especially the players that we have made a huge emphasis on recruiting high-character kids. Our kids aren't perfect by any means, but I do believe we have high-character kids. And so when we told them, hey, we're 4-9, but we have a chance to go into conference and make some waves in conference and really prepare for the end of the season and finish strong, they believed us. And instead of splintering at 4-9, I think there was even more resolve and a determination to find success.
It obviously took a while for the team to come together last year. This is a new team. Is it going to come together quickly?
You would hope so. The guys are. I still think that we're a fairly young team. We have one senior, but I would also label our team as experienced. Those sophomores and juniors, and then Robert Brown, who's a senior, have an unbelievable amount of experience now in games, not just seeing it from the bench. I mean, these guys have been thrown in the fire early against the teams you talked about, the North Carolinas and the Wisconsins of the world, and they've seen basketball at the highest level. Now, they didn't have a lot of success early on, but hopefully the strength training, the individual workouts, the player development, and now the team concepts will enable us to compete at a high level early. I mean, certainly our expectations are to have more success, competitive success, than we did early last season.
What can this year's team do different than last year's team, even though you pretty much got almost the entire team coming back?
I think a better understanding of the concepts. I mean, defensively, we basically played man-to-man defense and some zone defense, but really didn't get into the intricacies, the nuances, different ways of playing ball screens, adding multiple defenses. We basically kept it as simple as possible, said these are the fundamentals, this is what we're going to get good at, and we can't go to the next step until we learn that step. This year in the preseason, we're playing ball screens many different ways. We're throwing in new wrinkles, and I think the guys are able to handle it with that experience. Same thing offensively. Our offense last year was the bare bones. It was the guts of the offense that we want it to be, and I think this year the guys have a better understanding and appreciation of what we're doing. It's an offense that we're trying to give them advantages, but at the end of the day, we want them to be players and playoff instincts, and a year into it now, I think they can do that better.
The strength seems to be the front court for you guys this year. You got a lot of depth there. Are you guys trying to utilize that and build from, or kind of work off that, or is it going to be more team-oriented? Are you going to try to focus on those guys?
Well, I do think we have a lot of pieces of the puzzle. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we have 7, 8, 9 guys, different guys lead our team in scoring this year. So I do think we have a lot of firepower at a lot of different positions. I do think our front court is very, very good. Whether it's this year, any year I've been a player or a coach, the emphasis on the teams I've been a part of has always been get the ball inside first by dribble or pass. It doesn't mean just throw the ball in and let them try and score, but it could be penetrating with the guards, throwing the ball into the bigs, and then getting some three-point shots as a byproduct of that. But we'll certainly have the same mentality that we're going to try and attack inside first.
I think it's very similar to last year. Provide leadership when I can and where I can, and do whatever the team and Coach Haase asked me to do on the court, whether that's scoring, getting assists, defending, just going out there and just trying to win.
Robert, when the slow start last year carrying over, how do you guys think? I mean, will the feel going into some of these pre-conference games, will you be a lot more confident, I guess, than you were maybe last November and December? You think?
I think we have a little room to be confident, but being too confident will get you beat. Not respecting your opponent will. So I think we're still focused on improving right now every day. It's something that Coach Haase has been, especially more recently in the last couple of practices, been harping on improving more and more every day. So now we're just taking it one day at a time, trying to get better and not overlooking anyone.
Much more comfortable are you guys, like Coach Haase was saying, y'all are kind of playing bare bones?
I think we're more comfortable with each other. We trust each other a little more. We know strengths and weaknesses of each other. So just being in the system an entire year and having the same coaching staff come back, I guess the familiarity of the situation helps, and it allows us to develop a little more.
Guess, is there a line between confidence and overconfidence? I mean, you almost have to almost check yourself going into this as the preseason pick to win Conference USA?
If we don't, coaches have already done that and continue to keep us level-headed and tell us what we need to do and what we're not doing. We're definitely not where we need to be. We had a good weekend last year, but it wasn't the season we hoped for. So this year we're hopefully going to continue and build on that success from last year.
Any more questions for Robert?
What's it like to be the only senior on the basketball team?
Kind of feel a little old. Not too much. They give me a hard time. They do call me old a little bit, but I don't know. It's just it's a feeling of having just a bunch of friends around. It's really no different. We're all similar in age, so there's no huge difference between us. They do get to call me old. I've been around a little bit longer, but helping them, I guess, is something that I can do that whenever they need it.
I mean, a lot of the same players are back from last year. Do you see a different team, though, than the one that was there on the court last year? Is there a certain difference, I guess, this year compared to last year?
Especially at right now, I think there is. Where we were last year at this time is a night and day difference. I don't think we're as strong as we need to be, and we're going to continue to work on that. But I think it's the same team that ended last year that's trying to continue from that strength and build forwards.
Compared to last year?
I'll say confidence. A lot more confident in my game than I was last year.
What's the biggest difference between this team and the one that we saw last year? Is there?
Probably maturity. More mature. Maturity, yeah.
How do you guys stay humble and hungry at the same time, knowing that the target's on your back?
Just about coach being on our backs every practice and want more and more out of us and just going hard every practice. Just the way of us keeping focus.
How positive the way the season ended last year, what would success mean this year? What's the definition of that?
Probably get farther in the tournament than we did last year. Instead of round 32, make it to like Sweet 16, Final Four.
I feel like the biggest strength of this year's team is?
Biggest strength. Biggest strength in this team. That's a good question.
Something of the biggest strength.
So we got multiple players that can do a lot more than one thing. We got shooters. We got people that can drive. We got a lot of pieces that can do different things.
How different do you want this team to be? What do you think you guys need to work on, given that you have so many guys back? But what do you want to see different?
Defense. Just work on defense more and more, get deflections and get easy layups on the offensive end. Transition.
Shot 46 three-pointers last year, hit them at a 45% rate. Do you feel it being a bigger part of your game this year, or is that coach's call?
Mostly coach's call, but coach want me in the post more, so working on the post game, see how that goes.
Your confidence seemed to really build towards the end of the year. How confident are you offensively this year, trying to take that next step and kind of, when needed, kind of make that play for the team? Or
I would say it's all in the moment. Like if I'm open, got a chance to knock down the shot, I'm shoot it, and if it goes in, it just goes in, and just try to make the right play for the team.
Everybody saw you guys as an underdog last year, every step of the way. How do you guys see this team going into this year?
I would say we're no longer the hunter. We're the hunted. People going to be coming for us, and we got to prepare for that. And just by coach being hard on us, like every practice, I think that's going to prepare us in the future for what's coming.
this is an experienced team, but it's still a pretty young team. Have you been working, I guess, to take on a leadership role? Do you need to be more of a leadership role than you have in the past?
I would say so, yeah. But we got Robert Brown as our leader right now, and just got to follow him.